You know, when we think of Christopher Columbus, a pretty specific image comes to mind, right? A bold navigator, out for riches, looking for a new trade route to the east. But what if that's only scratching the surface? What if his real mission wasn't just for a king and queen, but for his God?
1492. It's one of those dates that's just burned into our brains from school, the moment the old world and the new world collided. But to really get what that voyage was all about, we have to understand the world it came from.
So the story we all learn is pretty straightforward. You've got the sailor from Genoa. He convinces the Spanish monarchs, Ferdinand and Isabella, to bankroll a super risky voyage west. The goal? To get to Asia and all its amazing spice markets. But by skipping the long, dangerous journey overland. It's a classic tale of ambition, money, and some serious navigation skill.
Okay, but this is where the story we think we know starts to get a little blurry. If you actually dig into Columbus's own writings, a totally different motivation starts to pop up. And it has a lot less to do with maps and a lot more to do with prophecy.
I mean, listen to this. These are his own words. Who can doubt that the Holy Ghost inspired me? Now, that's not just him saying a polite thank you to God after it all worked out. Nope. He believed right from the get-go that a divine power was his real co-pilot.
See, in his mind, Columbus wasn't just some explorer hunting for glory or gold. He truly saw himself as a piece in a much bigger puzzle, a kind of messenger, chosen by God to make ancient biblical prophecies come true.
And this wasn't just a casual thought, it was a deeply held conviction. For Columbus, his journey across the Atlantic was a crucial, necessary step to bring about the second coming of Christ. Yeah, he believed the end of days was right around the corner.
So you might be asking, how in the world do we know this? Well, it's because he told us. Toward the end of his life, around 1501, Columbus put together this personal collection of biblical texts. He called it the Book of Prophecies. And honestly, it's the single best window we have into his mind.
This thing wasn't a diary or a journal. Think of it more like his evidence file. He painstakingly pulled together all these passages from the Bible that he believed were literally predicting his life's work. It was his ultimate justification, proving to himself and to his patrons that this whole mission was ordered by God.
And this deep faith, it shaped every single practical decision he made. He didn't just pack hardtack and barrels of water. He was preparing for a spiritual quest. He brought along interpreters who could speak Hebrew and Arabic because he fully expected to find the 10 lost tribes of Israel and meet the Grand Khan in Asia. His real goal was to spread Christianity to every corner of the globe, a job he believed had to be finished before the world could end.
It really makes you wonder, right? What kind of world produces a person like this? A guy like Columbus doesn't just appear out of nowhere. His incredibly intense faith was forged in the fire of 15th century Spain. To put it lightly, the Iberian Peninsula back then was chaotic. It was a time of huge religious and political turmoil. Society was absolutely obsessed with ideas of religious purity, holy war, and this feeling that major prophecies were about to come true any day now.
I mean, this timeline of just the year 1492 tells you everything you need to know. In January, Spain finishes the Reconquista, the centuries-long war to take back the peninsula from Muslim rulers. Just 2 months later, in March, the monarchy orders all Jews to either convert to Catholicism or get out of the country. And then, in August, right in the middle of this intense religious atmosphere, Columbus sets sail. You just can't separate these events.
This whole environment has led some historians to a pretty fascinating, though totally unproven idea, that Columbus himself might have come from a family of conversos. So, what's a converso? It was the name for a person whose family had been Jewish, but had converted to Catholicism, a lot of the time under extreme pressure. These families often lived under a constant dark cloud of suspicion, with the Inquisition always questioning if their faith was genuine.
Now, it is absolutely crucial to understand that this converso theory is just that, a scholarly debate. There is no smoking gun, no definitive proof. But what we know for sure is that Columbus's entire way of seeing the world was molded by the crazy religious conflicts of his time.
So, in the end, whether his family was converso or not, almost misses the bigger picture. This was the air he breathed. He lived in a world where your faith could get you exiled or even killed, and a world where a whole lot of people believed the final chapter of human history was about to be written. His mission was born right out of that chaos.
And that's really the question we're left with, isn't it? When you start to see Columbus not just as an explorer, but as a man who believed he was on a mission from God, it changes everything. It makes you ask, what happens when a map stops being a guide and starts being a prophecy? What does it mean when the discovery of a new world is seen as the beginning of the end of the world?